Listen, when it comes to hiring a VA for your business, it can either go really well and be a blessing, or it could go really, really bad and be a curse.
There's no stopping me now. I know my shot. Sit down. Money's all over me. I'm called to be rich and be free.
What's up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Ebony Evaughn, your go-to business operations strategist, here to help you grow your business through people and processes. And today I'm excited because we're talking about one of my favorite topics, which is hiring employees for your small business. Now, for those of you who don't know, I have a master's degree in human resources. I used to be an HR professional. I worked in instructional design. I worked as a training instructor, a recruiter, and even as a consultant right now. I have a lot of clients that are talent agencies where I help them behind the scenes with their operations, and I also help a lot of small businesses when it comes to growing their team with contractors and employees. And because of my background in HR, this is something that I absolutely love to do. I could talk about forever. Even back in my college days, I used to be the plug when it came to writing resumes or like prepping for interviews, knowing what to wear to interview. I was that girl, okay? Everyone would be like, oh, you need your resume done? Go to Eb, she'll do it for you. So this is something that I could talk about for days upon days upon days. So today, specifically in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to hire your first VA. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs or small business owners typically go about hiring the wrong way, and they end up getting results that are not necessarily beneficial for their business. They end up wasting money and a lot of time and other resources. And what most people do is they end up needing something done in their business, so they panic and then they create a job description really quickly. It's vague, generic. They just throw it up on like Upwork or Fiverr, or they go into communities that they may be a part of and they're like, hey, I need this done. Is there anyone that can help me? And then they just hire the first person that says, I can help, without really asking the right questions, providing the right details, or even vetting the people that they hire in their business. So in today's video, I want to give you my like 5-step process of how you should actually go about hiring your first or next VA in your business. Okay, so even though I use the term VA, this is going to be pretty much applying whether you're hiring a virtual assistant, personal assistant, or an executive assistant who can support you in your business. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into my 5-step VA hiring process that actually works. So first things first, the first step in the process, before you hire anyone, before you post anything, you really want to take the time to sit down and really assess what you actually need, what tasks, what roles, what responsibilities your VA is going to be responsible for. And so the reason why you want to sit down and map out everything that this person is going to do is, number one, for clear expectations. A lot of people will just kind of hire a VA and be like, well, I need help and support in my business. And if you're not clear about the roles and responsibilities and what this person is going to be doing, it's going to lead to, number one, a lot of miscommunication, but it can also result in you in hiring the wrong person, because that person isn't really going to meet your business needs for what you're hiring them for. So for example, if you know that you're hiring a VA, this VA is going to be responsible for managing all of your customer facing activities, your inbox, your Facebook groups. If they're going to be managing your calendar, you want to make sure that you list that in the actual job description, so that you hire someone who is good when it comes to customer support and client facing job roles and responsibilities. You don't just want to say, I need a VA, and then you get someone who doesn't have customer service, or they're not used to managing inboxes or something like that. So outline what it is that you need. And then once you know exactly what the roles and responsibilities are going to be for your VA, now you can actually create a job description. I know. In this day and age, people are used to just asking for help in Facebook groups, posting on Fiverr, posting on Upwork to find freelancers and contractors. But it is going to be advantageous if you take the time to create a structured, functional job description. So, with your job description, you want to go back to that list of roles and responsibilities that you want that person to do and structure that into a functional job description. So, with the job description, you want to outline, hey, I'm looking for a VA. You can specify what type of VA. If you're looking for someone who's going to be focusing on customer support, you want to say that. If you're looking for someone who's going to be focusing on helping you with your social media, you want to make sure that you outline that. And then in the job description, you want to say the roles and responsibilities that the person is going to be responsible for. You also want to outline the requirements for that role. What type of person are you looking for? What skill set do you want them to have? What experience do they need to have? Are they going to be working with any specific tools? I use Upwork as both a client and a freelancer, and I rarely apply to jobs on Upwork as a freelancer because most of the time the jobs that are posted are very vague and generic. So I really never know what people are needing. So for someone who is an operational strategist, and I help people when it comes to like system integrations, optimizing their tech stack, workflows, creating SOPs. Sometimes I'll come across maybe a job on there that says, hey, I'm looking for someone who could create SOPs for me. Well, it's like, what type of SOPs? What type of business do you have? Like, do you already have an existing SOP template, a database? Like, is this person starting from scratch? But because it's so generic, I'm not even going to waste my time applying for it, because sometimes you apply and then you realize, oh, like this isn't really in alignment with my skill set or like the work that I typically do, right? So this is why it's important for you to actually take the time to create job descriptions that are going to be detailed, so that way you're crystal clear on what you're looking for, and then your prospective virtual assistants, whoever comes across your job announcement, they know, okay, this is a role that's created for me. This is in alignment with my skill set, what I do. And so you don't waste a lot of time hiring and then having to fire people who are not the right fit. Now that you have your job description done, you can post it on whatever site you're using to try to find the right VA for your business. I always recommend that you also include some type of screening questionnaire so that you can vet not only the skill set and what people can do, but how they think as well. So, as a small business owner, when it comes to hiring not only a VA, but any contractors or employees in your business, you want to make sure that they're a good cultural fit. You want to make sure that their mindset and their values and their beliefs are in alignment with your brand values and how you operate your business. You don't want to hire a VA to do your marketing, and they do a lot of sleazy guerrilla style marketing. They do a lot of keyword stuffing to get traction by any means necessary. If you have a more authentic, less sleazy marketing approach, right? You want to make sure that you're crystal clear that the person that you're hiring not only can do the job, but their approach to doing the work is in alignment with the core values and principle of your business. And a great way that you can actually do that is by asking pre-screening questions. So I like to do this to make the process a little bit more efficient. I will include screening questions within the application process itself. So as someone applies for a VA role or any role, I'll have questions for them to complete at the time of them submitting for that job. But in addition to that, you could also do interviews where in the interview process, you can make sure that you have strategic questions so that you can gain more insight about your prospective VA so that you know the person is not only going to be a good fit, they have the skill set to do the job, but they're a good cultural fit as well for how you operate your business. And this is going to take us to step 4 in the process. So, this is probably going to be controversial for some people, but once I've gone through the vetting process and I've decided that I want to potentially hire a VA, I don't just automatically extend them a job offer and start working with them. I do a mini test project first just to ensure the person has the skills they say they have and they can do what they say they can do, right? So, for example, let's say that you're hiring a virtual assistant that's going to be managing your customer support. You may want to give them a test project where essentially they're managing your box for a day or for, let's say, 3 hours, and you have them go through, respond how they would actually answer a customer inquiry that comes in. You may have them, if you're having them reach out to people for you, you may give them a test project where you have them reach out to a potential client or to a potential partner, and you see how they handle that process before you just jump in head first and you hire them and then you quickly have to fire them and then find someone else. Me personally, I find that when I do test projects, I do pay people, right? I find that when I do mini test projects, basically this allows me to see how that virtual assistant, how they communicate, how they engage with customers, how they follow instructions, if they pay attention to detail or not, and how they handle feedback in real time before you make it official and start working with that person long term. So once you test your project, everything is going well. This is going to take us to step 5 in the hiring process. And this is where you actually extend an official job offer. Either you're hiring them in a contractor capacity or a part-time, full-time employee role. But once you have decided that you want to hire this person and they're becoming a member of your team, you want to have an employee onboarding process. In all of my client management videos, I always talk about how important it is for you to have a clear onboarding process so your clients know what to expect and what to do next. This is the same when it comes to your employees and contractors. You want to make sure that you have a clear onboarding process that orientates them to your business. This acclimates them to their new role. It lets them know their expectations, their roles and responsibilities, the chain of communications, your brand values, your brand mission. You introduce them to the tools that you use within your business. And also, if you have any SOPs, you give them a standardized way to know, okay, like this is going to be the processes and procedures for how to do the day-to-day roles and responsibilities that you're responsible for in your business. Also, in your onboarding process, you want to make sure that you schedule in weekly or bi-weekly check-ins just so that you can see how the person is acclimating to their new role. You don't want to hire someone and just assume, oh, this person is doing great. Check in with them, ask them, how are you doing? Do you have everything you need to do your job? Do you have any questions? Is there anything that's unclear, or do you need anything, right? How can I support you? One of the biggest obstacles when it comes to small businesses when they're hiring people is typically they will hire people and it's like, I need support in my business. I'm overwhelmed and I need this person to be able to take these things off my plate. But you still want to make sure that as people come in to support you and take things off your plate, you're setting them up for success so that they can efficiently take those things off your plate. If you do not set them up for success, you're probably going to have a lot of turnover. You're going to have a lot of miscommunication. You may have people that quit or ghost you and then never come back. And you want to avoid that, because when it comes to hiring, whether it's contractors or full-time employees in your business, this is typically one of your biggest business expenses. So you don't want to waste a lot of resources, whether that's time and money, hiring the wrong people only to have high turnover. So have a solid onboarding process so that you can minimize the risk when it comes to turnover. Now, let me know down in the comments, did you find this video helpful? Have you already hired a VA? Are you looking to hire your first VA or your next VA? Let me know down in the comments of this video. If you found this video to be helpful, give it a thumbs up. And if you are looking for additional resources so that you can hire and recruit team members for your business, then I do recommend checking out my Hire Correct recruitment and hiring bundle. This bundle gives you some mini courses, checklists, and templates as far as how to create job descriptions, job announcements, and develop an employee onboarding process. So if you want those tools and resources, they're all tucked inside of Hire Correct, and the link is in the description of this video. Other than that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for stopping by my internet home. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on notifications so anytime I post another video like this, you will be the first one to know about it. Bye, y'all.